I didn't score enough bangers this year.
Yo, fam, we got 6, bro. You've diminished his value down to nothing. Play the guy.
So this weekend, obviously Manchester United played. They had a 1-0 victory against Fulham, and just a nice little fluke goal.
Yeah.
Every team needs one of those from time to time, and Manchester United needed it more than most.
Yeah.
But really, the headline from this game was not really the Lisandro Martinez goal. It is the comments from Ruben Amorim because Marcus Rashford again did not feature.
It's the same situation for every player. If you do the maximum, if you do the right things, we can use every player. And you can see it today on the bench. We miss a little bit like pace to go, to change the game, to move some pieces. But I prefer like that. I will put Vital before I put a player that don't give the maximum every day. So,
do you remember a couple weeks ago when Ruben Amorim said this is potentially the worst Manchester United side in like modern history? The last 2 words I made it myself.
Even you saying a couple weeks ago, that was like 8 days ago. That
was it?
It wasn't even that long ago.
We talk about this sport too much. But remember after that, he said, you know what? Sometimes I get a little nervous.
Yeah. And
when I get nervous, I say things I shouldn't have. Are you willing to put what happened here in that category? And if you don't know what happened, he basically said, and look, to give Ruben Amorim some credit, since he got here, he's been saying the way you train is whether you make the squad or not for match day.
Yeah.
That is it. He doesn't care about whether you necessarily fit exactly the profile of the tactics he wants. He's going to teach everyone the same thing. And if you're willing to work hard, you will get in the squad. He was asked why Marcus Rashford was in the squad, and he said, doesn't matter what player it is.
Right. And I'll get basically the exact quote, or it's kind of paraphrased here, but he says, quote, in effect, Amorim saes that he would rather play his goalkeeping coach, Jorge Vital, over Rashford.
Well, that's okay. No, he didn't say over Rashford.
Sure. Yeah, then Rashford. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't say then Rashford either. He said, doesn't matter what player it is.
Right.
The question was about Rashford, so everyone's assuming he directly meant Rashford. And by the way, he definitely meant Rashford. But he specifically said any player. It doesn't matter who it is. If you're not willing to give it your all in training, then I don't care. I'd rather start my 63-year-old goalkeeping coach than a player that's not giving their all in training. So to give him just a little bit of extra buffer. But also, he goes, if you're not training well and you're not, like, I forget how he phrased it, but essentially like living life the right way.
Okay.
Which at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, I'm with you on a lot of this, right? But do you really care how your players living as long as they're professionals when they get there?
I would. You have to say yes, because realistically,
you can't police the way someone lives their life.
Yeah, but it's not about policing, but it is also. I mean, I've heard plenty of coaches talk about this and I even think Sir Alex Ferguson mentions this as well about like.
Yeah, so Alex Ferguson wanted you to be like married to a good girl.
Yeah. So
someone who wanted to stay home.
So there is a little bit of that, of just like.
That's also going too far. Like, yo, you don't want me to. Why I can't have hoes? You know what I mean?
You can't. Are you stopping me from getting hoes? I can still do my job and
I
get
know,
hoes.
dude.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, Wayne Rooney proved that.
So, I think it's look, we don't know the specifics of what he's sort of saying or what he's kind of implying, but in general, I think coaches are a little bit like these father figures and will have some sort of input on what they do at home and how they kind of live their lives, and just give them a little bit of direction on just like how to grow up to be a man. I think that's sort of fair within the boundaries of coaching, until it gets to the point where it's like absurd and you're overbearing or whatever. But this situation, because look, Rashford not playing has to be explained, and he's gonna get asked over and over and over, and it has to be justified, where even the media is like, all right, it sort of makes sense. But
what exacerbates that is that none of the other strikers he puts in have performed. So, like, would you at least try Marcus Rashford?
Right. Like, how toxic to the team can he really be?
Right.
Because I mean,
How's he living? That's so bad. You ain't starting this guy.
But realistically, he can never really give the truth. He can't give her the real reason, because they're trying to move him. They're trying to sell him. You can't hurt the stock of the player.
This hurts the stock of the player to say, you're not training hard and I don't like the way you live in. That hurts the player. I'd rather start a 63-year-old.
Right, but he's not going to specifically say Rashford, doesn't pick up his boots after he's done training. Or,
enough with the hippity hoppity. That's exactly. It's like he sounds like a fuddy-duddy. You know what I mean?
Okay. It could be that. I don't know. I mean, Amorim's a pretty young guy. I think
he just turned 40.
Just turned 40.
If it was yesterday or today, is his birthday.
His Spotify playlist, I'm sure, includes a little bit of trap here and there.
He got some heady one, right?
There's no way it doesn't. Okay.
What's Portuguese trap sound like? I need to hear that.
So
he got drill. He got some drill in there.
Okay. So I can't imagine. I guess he's clearly a very strict guy, but for Rashford to be in this situation and it's not really like Rashford not being a part of the team has not really made the team better. There's not. I don't know how you can justify it for this long.
I mean, yeah, I guess you can make that point, but you're not wrong. But I kind of want to see if you're going to see Ruben Amorim's system flourish over the last 6 months of this league or this season, I should say. You want to see Marcus Rashford get a chance at that. The reason he's not getting played, we all assumed is, well, he's probably got in conversation with another club.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to ruin that opportunity for themselves and for the players, so they're just not going to play him. Well, we got a couple days left before this transfer window closes.
Yeah.
What is it, February 3rd? We don't have that much time. So we haven't heard any rumors. There's no leaks. Usually, like, there'd be, the agents would leak a couple. Hey, we've had some conversation. There's none of that. So it looks like he's not going to move. Are you just not going to play this guy for 6 months? 27 years old, his peak. And then he's going to, I guess, move on a free or move in the summer when his value is going to be so diminished because you didn't play him?
But this isn't his last year of his contract.
No. I was thinking it was, but it isn't.
No, it's not. They have to move him. They have to at least a loan or...
Yeah, but then you've diminished his value down to nothing. Play the guy.
Look, do I think this is the best way for Amorim to handle these Rashford questions? I don't necessarily think so, but... He's holding his ground. He's like, hey, look, he's not doing something that I need him to do. And he is not being specific about what that is. He's just simply saying in training and blah, 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 to give all the effort. And, if we try to read between the lines, it's like there's probably some relationship that is just severed. And there's, Rashford had an opportunity to make a good impression when the new manager got there. He did not do that. And he has not been able to win him over.
Yeah.
And
the rumor is that he just kind of doesn't do training. You know what I mean? He's just kind of takes it easy. He's pretty lazy, which is fine. And to some degree...
Well, it's not fine.
No. I mean, it's fine if that's how you want to be. If that's how you want to be. But then you're going to lose opportunities. And to some degree, I agree with Ruben Amorim. I told you what I wanted. I told you what I need to see from you.
Yeah.
If you're not getting in the team sheet, then it's that. I just don't understand where all the conversation argument comes from. Well, the guy's not doing it in training. He's not doing training. Will other teams take him? I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't want somebody who's going to walk in and not be part of the team, not work as hard. At the same time, I'm like, I'd give Marcus Rashford a try.
I mean, with all the injuries, with everything going on, like plenty of teams would give him a real shot. We've seen what he's capable of.
In my head, he's still a 25-plus goal scorer.
I know.
You know what I mean?
All right. We're all a little bit delulu. All right.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in his head, but that's one of the things that's in there.
So no. Yeah.
So do you think he went too far? With his statements? Yeah.
No, I don't think he went too far. I just think it's like a stalemate. It's a tough kind of scenario to be in. It's a what you call it? Like, yeah, I don't know. I think what I just said before. Like, Rashford had the opportunity to do. Look, Garnacho also got benched. And he's playing now.
Yeah, but there's rumors of him moving for $60 million in Napoli.
Right, but at least he did whatever Amorim asked of him. Like,
yeah.
But Rashford hasn't been able to do it. I don't know if it's similar to the scenario with Sancho, where like he didn't want to forgive Eric Ten Hag or whatever.
At least Sancho came out and said like, they're lying to you, and I'll give you my point of view. We haven't heard anything from Rashford.
Rashford's not that kind of guy. And he said in that statement that he put out that he's not going to say anything negative about Manchester United. So it is what it is. I'm hoping it moves. I just want to see Rashford play somewhere. I mean, I heard the rumors of Dortmund, AC Milan, whatever. Just seeing Rashford play football again, just will make me
He's too good to sit on the
happy.
bench.
Yeah, I would love to see that. All right, let's move on to the other side of Manchester. Manchester City played against Chelsea, a 3-1
They certainly did.
win after the humiliating, I guess, loss in Champions League midweek. Tough one. But the surprise here were the new signings.
Mamouche
Starting.
looking good. Kusanov.
No, not looking so good. They started Kusanov. He gave up a goal immediately.
Abdulkadir Kusanov, the first Uzbekistani in the Premier League. Oh, we got breaking news. The last Uzbekistani. No,
He hurt the brand for the entire country.
Stock is down lower than Dogecoin right now, folks. No, look, I think it was clearly mistaken. I want to give credit to Manchester City fans who applauded him as he left.
Yeah.
You know, in England, they say they clapped him as he left. And I was like, geez, buy the guy a drink first. You know?
I also think clapped could also be like murdered.
Yeah. But you say you clap. I'm thinking cheek. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Okay, but this is why the English language is so beautiful.
It really changes everywhere it goes. And the one in my brain is very different than the one in England. But let's talk about Kusanov, because there's a lot of question as to whether Pep should have kind of thrown him to the wolves.
Starting a center back.
How old is this kid?
I just got there.
He's 20 years old.
Is bold.
Right? He's 20.
But I think it's a statement to to everything going on at Manchester City of just like, yo, we are tired of this mediocrity. We're tired of giving up these late goals, giving up leads.
So here's more of it? I mean, literally everything you just said.
But it just says like, I'm willing to take a risk here because the sort of status quo is it's just not enough. It's not good enough. So to have those two starters, two players that just transferred in.
Different levels, though. This kid's, let's find out if he's 20. I want to stop calling him a 20-year-old. But we're talking about a kid who came from outside of the league, not at the same level of Omar Mamouche, who's 27 years old. You know, he's 20. Oh, there you go. 20 years old. Omar Mamouche, 27 years old. He's, was playing at Eintracht Frankfurt at a high level, scoring at a high level, much more of a like kind of exchange than what Abdulkadir Kusanov came in from. What a situation to put this guy in. Smart not to pull him out at halftime, because I think that would have absolutely crushed him. But if you go to that first half, there were moments where I think it was a pundit. I think whoever was on the call, to like, you could see him trembling. Okay. Like this kid was rattled.
Sure. I mean, look, it's a big, you're playing in the Premier League for the first time, playing at this big club, and then you make a mistake like that. And then you're thinking early in the game. Even when he headed the ball down, I'm like, he's obviously trying to head it back to Ederson. But I'm like, kick the ball. Why do you even understand?
Send that thing to the roof.
I don't understand what instinct kind of told him to do that, because it was so risky. But yeah, I can understand that being on your mind for the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. But again, I think it was worth the risk, not just for him and to give him that challenge immediately and like, hey, this is what the Premier League is like, but also as a message to the other players to be like, Pep is saying, anybody that signs here, whether they're here 12 minutes, that just signed their contract, they might take your spot. And I think that's a big statement to try to change the direction of how Manchester City's going.
Yeah, leverage now back in John Stone's court, because he walks in and is like, let me show you how this is done.
Sure. And
to me, this was really rough. But Omar Mamouche, completely different, man.
I thought he was great. I mean, he had a goal that was taken back for offside. But I just want to give some credit here to Erling Haaland, because I thought he had a spectacular game. The chip. I will talk Chelsea in a second, but that not just the chip, but the holding off the center back, heading the ball to space. It's like he passed it to himself.
When he can show that is when you go long, and City don't really go long, but they had to in this match.
Yeah, so A great goal, but also Robert Sanchez, like, bro,
this kid is like, nickname Blunder, bro. Blunder Sanchez, bro. This is what a shock that this guy still has the job at Chelsea.
it's kind of wild. Yes, you understand keepers are gonna make errors here.
He's had
and
5 errors this season that have gone to goals.
there. Yeah, I mean, and
Isn't that crazy?
that decision to run towards the ball outside of he didn't really step outside the box, but he got out of the
he found himself
box.
in like no man's land.
Yeah, and it's just a really, really poor decision there. But he's just had a couple of these this year. But I thought it didn't affect the outcome of the game, but the Chalobah going another long ball to Haaland. And obviously he passes it off to Phil Foden. But Chalobah looks, he just chases the ball like a dog sort of seeing a squirrel. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even thinking that there could be other people on the field that are threats.
Everyone else is paused. This is me and the ball.
And it's not even like he's a player that makes mistakes like that. It was just such a wild decision because Haaland has been locking down. Who was on him? Colwell. I think it was Colwell. And he's just been shielding the ball from Colwell all game.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's getting around him. And Chalobah's just like, let me go. I'm going to just go chase him. At this point, it's 2-1. And Phil Foden is just like, all right, this was...
Finally, some space.
This was just a free run.
Yeah.
Just like a wide receiver running with no corner on him.
Dude, people were mad at Enzo Maresca when he said, like, we're not title contenders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but you're up there. You're just saying that because you don't want us to believe, blah, 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 and put pressure. And he was like, no. He literally followed up with, we make too many mistakes in the back line and our goalkeeping situation isn't settled. Literally what he told us weeks ago, at this point, maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we're seeing in real time. And now they've, gone 6 without a win?
It's been a minute. I don't know the record. I mean, we can get Carter to confirm. But I think now when Maresca was like, we're not title contenders, all the players were like, nope, we are not.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you why we're not.
You know what? We don't want the gaffer to be a liar, fam.
We don't want to make him look bad. So
let's get out there and really stick it up.
The other thing we have to talk about is another controversy.
Is there a boo button in there?
We need to have a specific boo Michael Oliver button because
let's start with, please. I don't know if my theory is that this is not 100% true, but please don't send threats to anyone really, but in particular, don't send threats to a referee.
Or roast jokes.
Yeah. Also, don't send roast jokes to, you know what? DM us and we'll tell you not to send roast jokes.
We'll go over your roast jokes before you send them to the referee. No, Arsenal 1-0 win over Wolves, but
there's by the way, there's 2 sets of fans. When some that were like, aha, we got screwed over and we still won, and then me, which is like people like me who are like, why did this win still feel like a loss somehow?
Yeah. I mean, look,
it was like brutal.
Because it was more difficult than it should have been.
Way more difficult, bro. It's Wolves.
It's Wolves. They're in the relegation zone. They shouldn't be worried about it that much. But the red card to Miles Lewis-Skelly, MLS.
The best MLS.
The best MLS. And then, I mean, obviously, if you didn't see it, he's stopping a promising attack that's happening in Arsenal's sort of own half or Wolves' own half or
Wolves'
whatever.
own half. It's still at the halfway line.
It's a counter.
Yeah.
And Miles Lewis-Skelly puts a leg out, gets
Studs
some contact.
kind of graze the side of the leg, but nothing crazy. If you watch it in slow motion, maybe it looks worse, but in real time, anyone with eyes could see this wasn't a dangerous tackle by any stretch of the imagination. There was no intent to harm. There were defenders everywhere. This wasn't dogs, so by any stretch of the imagination, they were way too far. And yet somehow, Martin Oliver still finds a way.
Michael
Oliver, still finds a way to give him a red card. And VAR doesn't overturn it, which everyone on the call was like, let's probably get overturned in VAR.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it doesn't happen. And what happens when something like that goes down is the subset of fans that truly believe that the league is somehow corrupt or every fan base believes there's some referee that's against them, but in particular, some Arsenal fans really believe that there is a conspiracy against them. And then you show people stuff like this, and you think to yourself, well, I don't have a way to prove to you that there isn't.
Right. This is, I mean, we're looking at the still, and obviously it doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, these are probably two of the worst stills.
But this is I mean,
it's a professional foul.
people are kind of going a little wild, being like, this is the worst call in Premier League history. And I'm like, all right, kind of slow it down. I mean, we've had some really, really bad ones within recent history. But this was when you look at it, and you're looking at the points of contact right now, and it's like he gets kind of the side of the leg, some of the ankle, some of the upper kind of top of the boot. Nope, doesn't stamp on the foot, doesn't really get him with any crazy excessive force. I mean, when we're watching this game together, and we're just like, all right, cool, yeah. I mean, foul, whatever. Like, yeah, it should be a nice little yellow, and we'll keep it moving. And when Michael Oliver took out that red card, it was like, bro, did you see what we just saw? Like, and Michael Oliver is 2-3 feet behind the actual challenge.
The best view besides MLS.
Yeah. So he is clearly seeing what happened. And maybe in that angle, maybe he thinks the contact happened. It's obviously very fast, bang, bang, play. Maybe he thinks the contact happened.
The point is VAR doesn't change. I don't know how VAR doesn't overturn this. And now you have former players going absolutely wild. So for me, one of the things that I've heard is, I think Ian Wright mentioned it, but some former players have said, there needs to be a former player in the VAR room. And maybe it's someone who's qualified. They've done something to qualify themselves to be in that VAR room as a former player, almost as an ambassador to, let me explain to you from someone who played the game at this high level, what is happening here. That was not intent to harm. That was not a dangerous play. That was simply a professional foul. You cannot call that a red. I don't know if that overweighs the VAR, but maybe it's a voice in that room to be like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, I mean, my thought on that is it's generally a terrible idea. I don't necessarily think a player can offer more insight than a referee who's obviously ref tons of matches.
That might be one of the wildest takes I've heard on the show.
I don't think so at all.
You don't think a player the guy who would have made this tackle, or the guy who would have been tackled this way.
So, okay, let's give some credit to referees. They obviously, to get to this point, they have ref clearly, I'm going to say thousands of matches, but clearly hundreds of matches to get to that point, and even just to be a VAR. And it's not just the VAR; it is the assistant VAR as well that also can weigh in. I don't understand how PGMOL referees who have all this experience look at Michael Oliver. I can understand calling the red. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. I understand the angle, the speed.
Why we have the technology is to avoid the mistake from being officialized.
Two VARs, the head VAR and the assistant VAR, saw this and was like, yeah, I agree with Michael Oliver here. This is a red card. This was a dangerous challenge. This was serious foul play. That is insane to me, and I don't know how a player could tell those other two guys.
Because now you have the PGMOL coming out and saying, we agree with the VAR decision. We agree with the decision. Because they don't want to bury their own guy. But you have, I've not heard.
Have in the past?
In the past, is that a mistake has been made or whatever. This seems like a bit of a different situation because of the threats that are going around. It seems like it's gotten a bit more touchy. But you have every former player, even people that were not Arsenal players, people that were Tottenham players, coming out and saying, under no circumstances is that a red. And yet you're saying that you don't think one of those guys being in the room would at least been able to be just a voice of reason in this situation.
No,
when you have the VAR, the assistant VAR, the ref, and the PGMOL all hiding behind the thin blue line of silence.
They are qualified enough to get this right.
I think you're literally talking about a situation where they should have gotten it right and they didn't. And yet you still think they're qualified to do that job.
These particular refs got it wrong, but they should be qualified to get this right. I understand the center referee getting it wrong.
Until we get that, until we get fully qualified VAR, where the secondary, the safety net does its job. and actually gets these calls right, you don't think having a former player in that room would have helped in this situation?
No, because the bar will always just keep getting moved because it's going to be, so two VARs. Now we have the former player. Now, and then it's like, oh, well, what if the former player doesn't really have the opinion that we sort of think is correct? Do we have another former player to check on that former player? And do we have another former player?
You want former player internal affairs.
It just never ends. Those two VARs I'm more upset with them. That's ridiculous that they can see that on camera and not even tell Michael Oliver to go take a look. That's crazy to me. Anyway.
This is why I think we need a VAR for VAR. And it's 11 former players, one from each position, so that everything's covered, sitting in a room, and they are the ones who monitor the monitors.
There should be we need a Premier League Parliament. Okay?
Yeah. Yo, with the wigs, bro. With the wigs, bro.
And they all go, here.
Yeah.
And whenever,
here.
Whenever they agree with a call, they go, hey, yeah.
They call each other barrister.
They scream at each other. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. All right, last up before we get to our conversation with Cavan Sullivan. Tottenham against Leicester. This is a game where Tottenham is an opportunity to turn things around.
Do you know what position Tottenham are in the league?
They're above Everton. One above Everton.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get Everton get above them. Yeah, they are in 16th, I believe. 15th.
It's not great. It's not great for Ange Postecoglou.
Nah, but they stick it with him. They even said it after the game. And
give him the dreaded vote of confidence, because that usually means you're getting sacked.
No. I'm just saying that regardless of these results, I think everybody keeps going back to, and we've talked about it a bunch, the injury crisis.
Sure.
And and Ange Postecoglou did mention was it Pape Sarr?
Mm-hmm.
That he wasn't supposed to play in this game. Obviously, Tottenham won midweek in Europa League on Thursday, so that this game was on yesterday, right? So it's kind of remarkable when you really think about how many games they're playing, how few players they have available. These players I think this is why they lose the lead as well. I think they're like genuinely tired. And maybe it sounds like a little bit of an excuse, but these players,
especially when players come back from lung injuries and you're like, all right, here's how we're going to play. Every time we're all going to run that way, and then we're all going to run this way, and then we're all going to run that way, and we're never going to have a moment of peace for 90 minutes.
They have the Carabao Cup, right, coming up, the semifinal, the second leg. So I think that's kind of on Ange's mind as well. But him mentioning publicly that Sarr shouldn't have he wasn't even supposed to be playing. They needed a real break. I think this is why he hasn't been sacked.
I get that, but I also think the style. And look, I've mentioned before that I'm an Ange Postecoglou fan, but maybe the style of play that he likes begats a lot of these injuries. It's a very
bold. Okay,
it's all your fault, Ange Postecoglou. For me, I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you look back at the managers that have come into Tottenham Hotspur, and I get that my opinion here doesn't really resonate, right? Because I'm an Arsenal fan, but just hear me out, because I am an Ange Postecoglou fan. Tottenham Hotspur as an organization have brought in the likes of Jose Mourinho, one of the winningest, most heralded coaches in the Premier League. What happened? He failed. He left, yelling at the front office. Antonio Conte, a perennial winner. Winning is all he knows how to do. He's literally doing it right now at Napoli. He did it before Tottenham. He's doing it after Tottenham. He comes in, he leaves, yelling at the front office, talking about how the front office isn't great, right? You bring in Nuno Espiritu Santo. He did really well before. He comes in, doesn't do great. Everyone's like, maybe it was a flash in the pan. What's he doing with Nottingham Forest this year? Other than getting pumped 5-0, before that, he had these guys in the top four. We're talking about coaches that are really, really good are coming in here, and they are looking terrible. Ange Postecoglou won everywhere else he went, outside of the Australian national team, which is a whole other question. It's a whole different conversation, I should say. Outside of that, he won everywhere he went. He won at Brisbane Roar. He won at Celtic. He goes to Tottenham. This guy's got him in 15th place. Everyone's questioning everything he does. It seems to me that the common denominator here is the thing that constantly is a part of this conversation, but no one's willing to talk about it, is that it's not necessarily the coach, it's what's behind the coach. Yeah. It seems to be Daniel Levy in the front office that can't seemingly get this right. And anytime you bring this up to Daniel Levy, what does he talk about? Well, look, we got a new stadium and look at how much money we're making. All those things may be true. Your organization exists solely to win football matches. That's what football clubs exist for. I'm not one of these guys that go out and spend money you don't have so that you can guarantee wins and you can make the fans happy. I'm not one of those guys. But at some point, you have to be questioned at how good you are at your job, not as a businessman, but as someone who can put together a football club. When you bring in some of the best managers in the world, and yet somehow they all leave there pulling their own hair out saying this was a horrific experience and all of this needs to be changed. Even Jose Mourinho after the fact says, I wore the shirt of every club I've been to. I have my heart at every club except Tottenham. Something is there. Something is there deeper than just the jokes.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, this is a look, but it's also funny. I mean, it's
hilarious.
let's not be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to producer Carter, who's obviously a big Tottenham fan, but bro,
even in the roast room, if you say, "What do you think of Tottenham?" everyone responds.
That did, yeah. Even American soccer supporters.
We didn't make a Tottenham roast joke. That just happened organically.
You can't really get a group of just football supporters and not have that chant come up. I didn't make it up. I don't know why that happens, but it seems to be some weird tradition. All right, let's get to our conversation with Cavan Sullivan. We went to obviously you've seen a couple of the.
He's more mature than us.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, good point. He's more mature than me.
We went to Miami for MLS Media Day, and we spoke to a lot of folks. This is our first interview that we did with one of the players that is part of the new Onside documentary that's coming out very soon on Apple TV. Mm-hmm. It is the MLS kind of F1 Drive to Survive style.
Same producers,
box to box. So we talked. Cavan Sullivan is, one of the episodes is about him and his family. So we talked to him about that whole experience. Essentially now being a reality TV star. But yeah. So we had a great time chatting with him. So here it is. Here's that conversation with Cavan Sullivan of the Philadelphia Union.
Introducing Daily Draw, the latest free-to-play game from Yahoo Sports. Daily Draw gives you a pack of 6 prediction cards every day based on the day's biggest sporting event. Download or update the Yahoo Sports app on the Apple App Store or Google Play and join the action with Daily Draw today.
Bruh, stars all over the place, and we got him sitting with us.
Okay, is this a child star?
Yeah, I mean, right. There's always certain words I can't say now. But this dude is, this guy is incredible. Everybody now knows him. You're all over the place. Philadelphia Union, Cavan Sullivan, everybody.
Cavan, what's up, man?
Not much, chilling.
All right.
I think you have the life every regular teenager has, right? You're a professional soccer player, and now you're going to be a part of this documentary Onside. That's normal, everyday stuff for you, huh?
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Man.
It's remarkable, man. I mean, I think when we first saw, obviously, the news that you were signed for the first team.
Yeah.
Immediately you see the headlines and there's a little bit of is this allowed? Is this legal?
Right.
And then we see you play. And it's it's no joke. I mean, this kid, they
labor
always say,
laws. They got to get around labor laws.
Bro, they're haters, dude. They don't want you to shine.
They don't want to see you
That's what I'm
shine, bro.
We've been saying this from day one, bro.
Nah, but I had some help around that. Getting some help around that was really special because without it, I would have never made the debut. Would have never broke the record, and I don't even know. I don't know when labor laws end. Is it 18?
Nah, 48, dog. You got time. And you ain't going to play forever. I think it's 16.
I believe
16?
it's 16.
16?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
My first job was working at a video game store when I was 14 years old. So a little less pressure.
Yeah, but I could work because papers are 14 always, but it was the time. You can't be
playing
past
too late.
7 or
that's crazy. You got to get subbed out because of a legal curfew.
Right, exactly.
It
happens upstairs.
Yeah, man. No, but getting to do, we've been speaking to a lot of the people involved in the documentary. It's obviously coming out February 21st, but they've been highlighting you a lot and mentioning how significant and important your story and your storyline is in Onside. I know life comes at you fast. I mean, it's look. You've earned every opportunity you've gotten. They always say if you're old enough, you're good enough to be on the pitch. But to have the everything around the game, how have you managed to stay centered and focus on building yourself as a player?
Yeah, I mean, I always give credit to my family because they helped me with the process. My brother's on the same team as me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You saw him at the event.
Yeah.
We got a pretty cool relationship, messing around with each other. But at the end of the day, he's been really helpful with me. Balancing my life. Obviously, I need to be training individually, but I also need to be doing my schoolwork, and I also need to be like socializing with friends and family. So he's helped me with that. But my mentality is that the game is what really matters. Nothing like social media following or what the media says about me. So I have a pretty strong mentality of what I want and my goals for this upcoming season and the future.
Yeah, I'm sure your goals are set really high. And in fact, getting an opportunity to be filmed, like a lot of the people we're talking to, they're older, they got kids, they got a wife or something like that. They're talking about the documentary differently. For you, they not only shine a light on you, but we get to meet your parents. Now, be real. Which one of them really put it up for the camera? There's a mom and dad. Which
Like,
one of them really
you
love
ain't
these
like
cameras?
this at home.
Damn, bro, you don't talk like this, mom. Who really love them cameras?
No, I mean, probably my dad.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah, no. My brothers, Ronan and Declan, my twin brothers, one thing they noted was that they were always having to watch their lip because the mic's always hot.
Right.
So they were definitely aware, Sometimes the camera's not on you.
Yeah.
And you want to like talk to someone next to you, and then you realize you got a mic on,
Right.
and so you
It's like
definitely
being in the mafia. Everyone's wearing a wire, bro. You can't say
it's
nothing.
definitely something you got to be aware of, especially nowadays.
Yeah. For
Okay.
real.
I'm curious about the you had signed a deal with Abercrombie. What was it?
Aeropostale.
Aeropostale.
Apologies. Yeah. So this is like this is not something we necessarily see from players that work with like big time kind of clothing brands,
Models,
and stuff like that. But when you think about yourself as from either stylistically or as a brand or like even the shave and the eyebrow,
The
like,
platinum blonde.
platinum
the
blonde.
chain.
I mean,
was it Cuban link?
Franco.
Franco.
Okay.
My bad.
How much of that is like balancing like the having fun with it and also not being mischaracterized by the league or by other players and stuff like that?
Yeah. So recently, my dad low-key came at me for it seemed like being too focused on like my wardrobe and like my like style. So you do have to balance that out too. Like everything can become a distraction. Right. But I like to have fun with the way I dress. I mix it up. The hair, I'm growing it out now. I'm changing it up. It used to be my signature look. Kids started doing it everywhere. You started seeing it on nearby soccer fields. But I think I like to change up the way I look and the way I dress and my style because it's a way of expressing yourself and showing your confidence in the way you move and stuff like that. But it's definitely something I do need to be careful of because you can't get too focused on it.
Right.
We support. Look, you score a couple
I'm all about
bangers.
it. Hey.
You score a couple bangers. Nobody cares.
Cody,
Nobody
change that hair whatever you want, my guy. You got 3 points?
I didn't score enough bangers this year. So.
All right, so that's a goal for next year.
Yeah.
One of the things, we watched the documentary trailer that came out, and obviously it shows you, it shows your family, and obviously we know your brother, one of your brothers. I don't think we met some of the other ones. We'll meet them when we watch Onside. One thing I noticed about you, you're all good looking. All right? And we're friends with a relative of yours, Kevin Ryan. He's wild ugly. What happened
Wow,
to your family?
this
tree
and Kevin
split.
Ryan.
Hey,
Yo,
Kippy. Shouts to Kippy. But, bro, are you garbage? More like, are you ugly, bro? That dude is not a good-looking guy. And your whole family.
That's messed up. That's messed up.
Speak on the family tree. What happened to that side? I think the tree was poisoned.
Have you been on the podcast?
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Nah, come on.
Kevin's like, have you seen him up close?
Everyone in the Sullivan family is good looking. Whether boy or girl.
Everyone's beautiful to you.
Beautiful.
No, I love the fact that there is at least that with comedy and soccer, there aren't too many connections. Are you a fan of any comedians? Is comedy a big part of your life and stuff like that?
Shane Gillis is funny.
Okay,
Shane's
Shane.
a homie, Philly guy as well,
is the
right?
Yeah,
homie.
of course. I mean, I love some of his skit. What's the dude? Maniscalco, I think.
Sebastian
Sebastian
Maniscalco.
Yeah.
I
So-
opened for him for a while. He was a great guy. man.
Some of his things are funny. Just the way he moves and his facial expressions
very
and
physical.
his voice change, like all that. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Okay, I love this. Cavan
he's-
Sullivan, Maniscalco impression.
Yeah,
bro.
so he's pretty funny too. Those two, and then Bill Burr. I enjoyed some of his.
Classic.
It's a classic.
Yeah, he's
so,
a
okay,
his.
you are.
I never really watched Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know if he like stopped doing it, but I just never really got into it. But my dad did.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little older comic.
Yeah,
That's
for
not your
sure.
generation.
But no, it's definitely something I enjoy, and hopefully I can get out to like a show or something soon.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. Obviously, we're just playing on one. Kevin, you're a beautiful guy. Dude, thank you so much. Kevin, we're really excited to see you in the documentary Onside when it comes out. Can't wait to watch your episodes. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, man.
I can't wait to watch it. Hopefully you guys too, and thank you for having me.
Of
Cheers,
course.
bro. Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to the Cooligans. What a great interview. Cavan Sullivan.
Shout out
huh?
to Cavan Sullivan. My man got more swag than we ever will.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I was the one who was like, yo, dye your hair, kid.
Shave that little line in your eyebrow.
Get a couple cuts in your eyebrow. Hey, and
Face tattoo. Have you considered it?
Bro, do it. You know what you do? Get a face tattoo of yourself.
How many
On your face.
How many footballers have face tattoos? Not many, right?
Not many. We need more.
Is that can we do a quick Google search? Maybe
Yeah.
Carter.
Carter, by the end of the episode, give us a list of every footballer that's ever had a face tattoo. I'm sure you're not doing anything
I
else.
mean, there has to be some. It's just not a very popular thing.
And how about the "Are you garbage" shout? I tossed it at him, and he kind of didn't take the bait. That's a family man right there.
I mean, you called Kevin Ryan ugly.
I think Kevin Ryan would be like, the kid got the better of the looks. I think even he would
which
say
is
that.
that's fair to say.
Yeah.
But you called him ugly, and I don't know how he's gonna. I'm just saying if he sees you, I'm just saying just watch your back out
Oh,
in the
damn,
streets.
you think it's on site? I think I'll see him from across the room. But who's that ugly guy running at me? And I'm like, oh my God. No, come on. Kippy's a beautiful man. Why don't we talk a little bit about U.S. men's national team?
That's right.
So many questions about,
Well, why are we talking about the U.S. men's national team?
because we're 500 days away from the World Cup.
today, 500 days left before the World Cup hits
Isn't that crazy?
American, Canadian, and Mexican shores.
That's right.
I can't wait to travel the Gulf of America
Yeah.
to go.
Well, hey, maybe Canada's the 51st state by then.
This is
Who
gonna be-
knows? Anything can happen.
Imagine, the World Cup's gonna be hosted by one country.
Yeah.
So, what madness! But no, we are 500 days away from the World Cup, so we thought we'd take a quick look, a little temperature check. Where are we? What do we need? How are we doing? Can we fill in?
It's more exciting now than I think we thought it would be, right? I mean, even some of the January camp, the Camp Cupcake folks,
Those
they're
are
playing well.
Those are supposed to be boring. Who cares about
Yeah,
this?
we
And it's
ain't
like,
supposed to be talking about Shaw.
I mean, why is Ajay Yang playing well? I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Yo, do we got another striker?
Why is Diego Luna looking like he just came out of an MMA fight and playing well?
So we have to see where are we right now with our progress, with what the team is kind of just looking like. Are we on track to have
It's a bit of a vibes check, is what you're
World
thinking.
Cup? Yeah, that's right. So right now, and just we're seeing what's sort of happening, I think, with U.S. men's national team players is that the clubs that are signing American players, they seem to be doing it in clusters. You know what I mean? The PSVs, the AC Milans. I'm like, why are they all in one
Yeah,
place? Like you would.
Should we buy an American player? Oh, wait, there's a discount if you buy three, you get one free. Is that how that works?
So it's kind of fascinating, and we have like the other, the Brendan Aronsons, at least, in the championship.
You got
and stuff.
Johnny Cardozo going, come on, guys, buy three more. Help me out here.
I know a guy. All right.
Why you need Anthony?
But the players that we really need to be thriving seem to be like in good form, and my hope is that they continue to do that. Obviously,
Pulisic is the guy, right? There's not even a question there.
Exactly. So, and not only is he came back from that injury quicker than we thought he would. So, he seemingly
Which was a big question mark for him because he was oft injured when he was at Chelsea.
right. So it seems like he's in a good spot when it comes to his health. But then seeing the kind of the come up of Tim Weah. I think Tim is going to be a very, very important player at the World Cup.
I wish he had a solid position.
I wish that too, but
I'm going to hold back my.
But he seems to thrive regardless of what position he's in, how many minutes he gets. He finds moments to shine, and at Juve, like same thing kind of with McKennie. McKennie to me is
McKennie's doing the Jordan Belfort. I'm not leaving. No matter way, you're not in our plans. Like, watch me start a bunch of matches for you.
Exactly,
buddy.
and that is also frustrating to see. I think for USMNT fans,
but he's used it to fuel himself moving forward, so it's not as frustrating as it could be.
Sure, but as far as a lockdown starter at Juve, I kind of feel like Weston is, but we don't know what position. He's gonna be a lockdown starter, but somewhere on the pitch.
Him and Weah, this is their heat map is wherever we play you.
So yeah, it's looking like that's exciting to see that they're playing in big matches. For trophies. Milan, Juve, Ricardo Pepi at PSV. Again, another player who we don't know is gonna, he's not gonna really start many games, but he just scored the game winner recently.
It's only him and Patrick Schick that have, or I think it's only Patrick Schick that has more goals per 90 from players that have played at least 500 minutes.
Okay.
So we're talking about really impressive, goal scoring capabilities. And he's shown it. It's another player who's proven that, okay, you're not going to start me. I'm going to make you need to start me. I think he's shown that. Yunus Musa has been able to get on the pitch a little more. Yunus Musa's effective when he comes in. Impressive.
That assist to Johnny Reinders the other day. That helped AC Milan win that game. So again, it's just like these little... I think there's two players right now in the U.S. men's national team that they could be written in marker starters. I've got Christian Pulisic and Anthony Robinson. Those are the two names that are without a doubt going to be there. I agree.
No one else.
Yeah, I think the other surprise and progress that's exciting to see, also as long as he stays healthy, Tyler Adams at Bournemouth has been spectacular.
Phenomenal for a phenomenal team.
Yeah, I mean, look, they won 5-0 against
Nottingham Forest, bro. This was riding high. No one can figure them out. Nottingham Forest. You know who figured them out? Andoni Iraola and Tyler Adams.
Well, what I love specifically about, he not only is he got an assist, he got 2 assists, I think, the other day in that 5-0, but he's not only defending incredibly well, obviously box to box, wild, great challenges, interceptions. But he's making, it's great if a 6 that gets assists. I mean, that's difficult to find, but he's making those line breaking passes that open up the game.
Exactly.
And that is what I really appreciate. So to me, if he stays healthy, that's another just lockdown starter. He looks fantastic. Now we can start having the conversation looking forward and what players are standing out a little bit, and especially the younger players.
Yeah, the U.S. Male Young Player of the Year award will be given out pretty soon.
That's right. We know the Male Player of the Year was Anthony Robinson.
Yeah.
But who do we think?
Young player. Who's next?
Who's next? Who's on the come up?
There's not that many names you could really think of, right? Like if you think of Gianluca Busio, who's kind of, he's doing his thing, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, but
right?
It's kind of struggling.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Yeah.
I would say maybe Malik Tillman, who I think has kind of maybe come back a little bit, has been able to start to get a couple more starts, a couple more effective playing time, especially in Champions League. But for me, I think it might be Tanner Tessman.
Tanner Tessman, as far as his in 2024, Venezia don't get promoted without Tanner Tessman.
100%.
Yeah, he was spectacular.
Week in and week out starter, absolutely incredible.
And got to move to Lyon. He hasn't really done much at Lyon just yet. He's not really playing that much.
He's had starts. He's come in as a sub. He just hasn't made it consistent. But to get that big money move to a bigger club, especially if you think about it, right? Excuse me. I think Inter were in for him.
Yeah.
And then there was an issue with whether they were going to loan him or keep him, and going back and forth. I guess the deal didn't work out. There was some other clubs last second. A couple Premier League clubs came in for him. And eventually gets the move to Lyon. Lyon's a Champions League team.
Yeah.
I went to go see them play against Rangers in Champions League, which was great. He unfortunately was not part of the matchday squad.
Yeah.
But it's a good opportunity for him to be in a place where you're going to get those opportunities. You're going to be playing at the highest level.
And they're a
Something
good
that
team.
wasn't
We
happening
saw-
in Venezia.
We saw Lyon when we went to PSG
Mhm.
Lyon.
Paquetá was there at the
and
time.
This was when Paquetá was there. I just want to see him play. That's really the main thing. I mean, can Tanner Tessman be a part of that World Cup squad? He was great at the Olympics. Another player.
That's the other thing, right? Maybe he hasn't really fully gotten on board at Lyon, but man, he's impressed when it's come to the men's national team.
Exactly.
Enough where that position isn't really solidified yet.
Sure. Look, midfield, MMA, right?
True.
Musa,
but
McKennie,
sure,
and
but
Adams, that doesn't feel like the best one.
a true in and out defensive midfielder,
Mm-hmm.
that's neither of those guys. They can all do that job, but they're not pure defensive midfielders.
You don't think Tyler Adams is a pure defensive midfielder?
No, I think he offers you more. I think he offers you as much going forward. He's a dog. He gets back. He blends a couple of positions together. I wouldn't consider him a pure. He's like to me, he's like I'm thinking of like a Harry Kane pure 9. You know what I mean? Versus someone who can play striker really well. Tyler Adams does the multiple jobs. He replaces 2 players.
Okay.
I don't think Tanner Tessman does. But Tanner Tessman, if you want a guy to stand in front of that back line and patrol that is Tanner Tessman.
That's
I think Tyler Adams can also do that, but Tyler Adams can also blend into other positions as well.
Okay. I think Tanner Tessman's probably, maybe not by much. To me, he feels like a better passer than Tyler Adams, but I don't think he can.
I think Tyler Adams
he doesn't have
is better
the
going
pace.
forward.
He does. I don't know. I mean, let us know what you think. I don't necessarily
Tell us.
agree, but okay, yeah, we'll just kind of leave it there. Another shouts would be Malik Tillman and Joe Scally.
Yeah, Joe
Also
Scally,
potential
definitely, right? He's sort of settled in a little bit in that
young
right,
male player of
that
the year,
right
so we'll
back
see what
position.
happens. Okay, what are still the biggest needs for the team? I think we might have the same answer here. My
Goalkeeper?
goalkeeper is
Yeah.
where I'm at. I mean, it's just still the concern there.
Can Chesney change his citizenship? Yeah.
We got cigarettes here too,
Yo, man, we got 6, bro.
That still is the concern of just like, why don't we have just a goalkeeper starting every game, playing at a really, really high level? Yes, we have the potential at the January camp games. We had Patrick Schulte and Zach Steffen. Could they do that job? I'm sure they could.
Matt Freese is on the fringe
Matt
there.
Freese is there. Matt Turner still feels like the one who's gonna get the first look.
Yeah, Ethan Horvath is still out there. Gaga Slonina will be a little bit older.
Yeah. I think this one is really, really up for grabs. I mean, I don't know how Matt Turner is going to sort of turn anything around.
If you're not playing.
Yeah, if he's not
and
playing.
then Zach Steffen comes back to MLS. He's playing.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Turner.
And I think goalkeeper maybe is one of those positions. Not maybe. Goalkeeper is one of those positions where it really doesn't matter if you're in MLS or Europe. You're getting shots. Shots are being taken at you.
Yeah.
I think you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's
To play out of the back, it's probably more
I mean, you
efficient to be
might
in
feel
Europe.
that way. Or maybe I think most the laymen, I mean, me included, probably kind of, you're like, oh, you stop shots from regardless what continent you're on, you're still doing the same job. But I think what you can't replicate is the immense amount of pressure.
Sure.
Not that,
and maybe the speed of the game as well.
sure, but that you're dealing with like on the pitch and then off the pitch as well, and media and reporters asking you questions and making mistakes publicly and how you come back from that. I think all of that helps that USMNT goalkeeper, and not experiencing that. I think you sort of I would go with that. That player that went through has that kind of experience, because I would have a little bit more faith in him. All right. So what progress? What's left? What would we like to see going into the Gold Cup? The Gold Cup is obviously happening this summer.
I wanted to see the team. I wanted to see Pochettino kind of get his hands across all of U.S. soccer and all of the whole pool, and then start to figure out who he trusts, who he likes, who can be those additional pieces, who can be the starters, who are the people that he could get behind. Now I want to see that plan come together. I need to see that sort of start to solidify itself. We talked about how really there's 2 players that are written in Sharpie. Everyone else is up for grabs. That list needs to grow. And it's not just from Pochettino's level of confidence with that player, but how that player is playing at their club.
Sure. I mean, I'll go as far as saying the progress I want to see. I think U.S. have to win the Gold Cup. I think would be embarrassment to not win.
I wouldn't even be that impressed if they win. And it would be a massive emergency if they don't.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy like you said. I'm not going to go crazy if they do win, but I think losing Gold Cup would be a really, really kind of embarrassing mark for Pochettino. And I think the team is good enough to win in CONCACAF. And we know who's going to be the kind of the tougher teams. But yeah, I mean, can the U.S. get past Dominican Republic? Who knows?
I mean, anything can happen.
DR is going to be their first Gold Cup. So, maybe Dominican Republic will be the spoilers, ruin Pochettino's, derail his coaching career. Can you get
Baghdad to switch from Spain to DR?
So, that's right. That's another thing. We'll talk about that maybe in the future. Alejandro Baghdad is Dominican.
Mama's Dominican, bro.
I didn't know this.
Even though he speak like a Spaniard.
Why didn't you make this known?
No, bro. He didn't know you were the Loel.
I find out from GQ Spain,
bro.
This is heartbreaking.
Not the way you want to find out. That you got cousins out there.
That's why the Dominican music is being played in the Barcelona locker room. Okay,
bro.
And he's like, Balde's like, Lamine, you Dominican too, bro.
Yeah. Look in the mirror, my guy. You one of us.
De lo mio FC. You love to see it. All right. So lots to look forward to for the U.S. men's national team. This is look, I mean, we're hosting the World Cup. We also want the team to be good.
Please be good.
A lot of people are going to be watching us. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Cooligans. We always appreciate it.
Cavan Sullivan, huh?
Cavan Sullivan. Do any other players have a line in their eyebrow in the league? I don't think so.
I'm sure one of those Argentinian guys with the funky haircuts got it.
I'm trying to think of any players that are playing in MLS. I don't think so.
Lucho might.
Lucho. All right, we gotta take a couple of looks at some of these guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast. Also follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky. We're out there. We're crushing it on Blue Sky at soccercooligans.com on Blue Sky. Go if you haven't made an account there, get on there. I don't know what unless you're somebody just trolling women on Twitter, bro. Like you can't be doing that, bro. Get off of there.
Come on. No bots.
No. If you're a bot, you can't follow us, all right?
Wow. We're taking a big stance here.
Because you know how them bots be. So make sure, like you said, go follow on there. And we'll be back on Thursday with a new episode. We have a great guest coming in on Thursday. So make sure you stick around for that. Make sure. All right. Anything else, Alexis?
No, that's it. I think this episode's gone too long.
All right. This episode is too long, according to everybody in the room. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. We'll see you on Thursday, everybody. Peace.
Love you guys.